Hi, this is Talk and Cook, new show on Silkway TV channel. I'm Anuri Mangali, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host Lambrian Tepozidis. But before we move on and invite our guest, Lambrian, you try to guess who it will be today.
Well, talk me a little bit about that.
Of course, our speaker is originally from the country that is world's economic powerhouse and for sure is a global trendsetter. It's USA. But the dish he wants to represent us today is totally from the other part of the world. It originates from a country that, nevertheless, being located in the European continent, has very strong historical and cultural ties with Asia and specifically to the Turkic world.
Well, it's in Asia. I think that is Hungary.
Yes, you are correct. And our guest today is a professor of Nazarbayev University, researcher and prominent turkologist Uli Schamiloglu. Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello. So, welcome to our show. We are now inside our kitchen, and as we can see here, we have a little pre-set up. We have our pans, and the water is boiling there. So, Uli, tell us about the dish we are going to cook today.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to explain is that this is not my own national dish. So
Of course.
I'm of Kazakh Tatar ethnic background. I was born in New York. And one of the things that was important in my life is that I studied in Hungary. I studied in Europe a number of times. And the reason I studied there is because I'm a turkologist, and there's a very important tradition of turkology in Hungary. So when I was a student, I enjoyed eating Hungarian paprika chicken, or in Hungarian Chicken Paprikash. And one of the things that I learned how to make from Hungarian food is exactly this dish, and I enjoy making it very much.
Oh, I see.
The other thing for this program is it's a really simple dish that everybody should be able to make.
Yes, of course. So let us do it. So what kind of ingredients do we need for this dish in particular?
Okay, so first of all, I like to use chicken parts. I like to use drumsticks and thighs because the bone gives extra flavor. Of course, you can have a whole chicken and you can chop it up and use it in parts too. The way I make it, and my friends like the way I make it, is it's very simple. It's like a soup. We have the water boiling here so it doesn't take too long, but in cold water, you put the chicken, we'll dice up some onion, we'll put in some green pepper or bell pepper. I like to put in chopped tomatoes with the sauce. And then the important ingredients, this is paprika. Don't be afraid to use a lot. This is sweet, in Hungarian édes, and this is spicy or hot, and this is csípős in Hungarian.
So let us start.
Okay,
You will lead our team, and
so
we can...
the first thing I'm going to do is rinse the peppers, and then that's going to be the most complicated part of the preparation. Otherwise, everything, I haven't even tried the knives yet. Everything is very, very simple.
Oh,
And so your knives are good and sharp, I like that.
yes, they're very sharp.
So I'll just put stuff in here and we'll deal with it later. And so we're going to chop up the peppers, and we don't need to chop it up. We can just leave them as large pieces because we're going to be removing them. Some people like to leave them, some people like to eat them, but I don't. I personally don't eat the peppers.
So you cook it and then you remove it.
I remove
out
it
of
because
the dish.
it's good for the flavor, but generally I don't eat it.
Okay.
I know some people who do, but that's okay.
And while the gentlemen are cooking the national Hungarian dish, I will introduce you with the interesting facts about this country. The capital of Hungary, Budapest, received its name relatively recently. In 1873, three cities were united into one: Pest, Buda, and Óbuda. The cities of Buda and Óbuda are located on the right bank of the Danube and Pest on the left bank. Hungary is known for its inventions that have made life much easier for modern people. For example, the first ballpoint pen was made here. Holography, krypton light bulbs, and the world-famous Rubik's Cube puzzle were invented here as well. It is said that even matches were first made in this country. If you look at the world map, Hungary does not even have the narrowest exit to the sea. However, the Hungarians strongly disagree with this. Lake Balaton is alternately called as Hungarian Sea. The Hungarian language is part of the Finno-Ugric group of languages and is considered particularly difficult to learn. Its complexity is often compared to Chinese and Japanese languages.
So now we're putting in this chicken. I rinsed it.
A little bit of commenting, right?
So we have chicken thighs. Okay, I can trim this too to get the excess fat off. This is not a generous amount of paprika, so I don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of that.
Isn't it too much?
No, that's sweet.
This
is the hot one. So I'm going to stop
mix
with this
it, yes.
for now. And I'm also going to be putting in the tomato. I like the tomatoes. Mm-hmm. It gives wonderful flavor.
And makes ready.
Well, it goes. it continues the theme of red paprika. So.
Yes.
So and then basically this needs to cook for 40 minutes.
What about salt?
And we can put some salt in. I'll just put in about.
Yeah.
Uli Schamiloglu is a researcher, professor at the Nazarbayev University for 9 years, I guess, right?
I started in 16.
It's 7 years.
This is my 7th year.
Yeah.
Seventh year.
So in 80s, you worked in the U.S. in Indiana University, Bloomington, and after that, you also have experience working at Wisconsin. Madison,
University of Wisconsin-Madison. I was there for 28 years.
And your study interest in Turkish language and.
I'm a specialist in Turkic languages and cultures. I'm a specialist on the history of the Golden Horde in the 13th and 14th centuries. And I also have an interest in the intellectual history of the Muslim Turkic peoples of the Russian Empire and the Ottoman Empire in the 19th and early 20th.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to start cooking. I'm going to start cooking
back to
this.
our cooking process.
Let's put some salt in here.
Let's go back to our basic process here, just for cooking.
So now.
Okay.
Now we're cooking pasta. And the smell has been very, very good.
So
yes.
Hopefully you will enjoy this. And
it's
so
nice.
even if you run out of the chicken, what I like to do with the leftover sauce is use it with mushrooms.
So we have 40 minutes for our chicken and approximately 12 minutes for our pasta.
That's right.
We are ready to go.
Cooking it a little early just to make sure I don't forget later.
Yes, sure. So you live in Kazakhstan for many years, for 7 years.
Yeah.
In general.
My first visit to Kazakhstan, I think, was in 1990. And in the early 90s, I was also, as an academic, I was a consultant to the State Department. So in 93, 94, and other times I came for various visits with delegations. And then beginning in 2008, I was invited to Yenu as a visitor, and then later to Al-Farabi as a visitor. And then when we started the partnership between the University of Wisconsin-Madison and the project to build Nazarbayev University, I started coming frequently, beginning in 2010.
But now you live here permanently.
Yes, that was unexpected. I didn't expect to be invited to chair a new department of Kazakh language and Turkic studies, but for me it was a great honor, and I was happy to come with my wife.
So how can you describe modern Kazakhstan and maybe Israel in the Turkic world, where we are now discussing a lot more?
Sure. So first of all, when people ask me about Astana, or I try to describe Astana, I say it's like Dubai on the steppe. It's not exactly the same, but there are many, many parallels.
On the way.
On the way to being like Dubai. Dubai is too hot. Sometimes Astana is too cold. Here we have indoor beaches. In Dubai, you have indoor ski slopes. But
Yes.
they're both modern cities, and both my wife Funda and I enjoy modern cities. And even the old town, the Tselinagrad, is changing. It's becoming more modern at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you remembered the Astana, the old Astana?
Well, I first came in 2008. So when I first came,
It was already good,
built.
I don't know.
Well, compared to what I heard about 10 years earlier, of course.
Bayturek was only in the left bank of the Astana.
That was
It was
the only.
early 2000s.
There was no anything.
There was nothing else. No.
2000s, right.
Even I remember. So you've got the park.
Central Park?
No, not the Central Park, but the park around Bayturek.
Yeah.
And so I remember that they were still building it when in 2008, and there was just one restaurant in the first building. So they took me there to dinner once from Yenu. And so, no, it's totally different. When we first visited the campus of Nazarbayev University, which was under construction in 2010 still, I have pictures, it looks post-apocalyptic. There was nothing else around it except for the arena and Alo. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
And now it's totally different.
The building and construction, yes, is really going fast. I think the last 2 decades in our city, but... what about the role of Kazakhstan, the role of the young capital Astana in all this Turkic world concept? What do you think about it?
One of the reasons I'm really, really delighted to be here is because, let's say, first of all, in terms of my career, I was always doing things to try to develop interest in Turkic studies, interest in the Turkic world in the United States. And it was always with the wind in my face, kind of pushing against the wind. Whereas here, there's such a strong interest that it's like, I open my arms and it's like the wind is behind me, pushing me like a boat.
Forward.
So I really appreciate that. And certainly in the Turkic world, both Turkey and Kazakhstan have a very, very specific role of leadership. And it's just fantastic for me as somebody who studied as a Turkologist and worked as a Turkologist in the United States to come here and see such strong interest. And I think it's, there's many aspects to it, both culturally and politically, but I think it's great that you have closer cooperation, collaboration between the various Turkic-speaking states. I hope it will expand further. Hungary is interested in working with them. Mongolia is interested in working with them. That's fine.
Can we say that history, in particular, the history you taught, like of that Golden Horde Empire times, is popular among students?
In Kazakhstan, it's popular.
Yeah.
In Kazakhstan, it's popular, but I
have
don't
the
produce
natural
any
interest, right?
Yeah. The students are interested because now they understand that it's connected to the history of Kazakhstan, and the history of Kazakhstan is connected to the Kazakh Khanate, and the history of the Kazakh Khanate is connected to the legacy of the Ulus Jochiz or the Golden Horde. Actually, I don't train students to do what I do. I train them to do what I support them in terms of what they're interested in.
So this is the professional side of Uli now. So you see, guys, how smart he is. So he did a lot of researches on Turkic languages and other things, but we would like to know his casual side, so how it looks like in home. So what if I were your son? So I come in your home and I see you sitting on your computer and typing something or reading manuscripts. Is it like how it looks like now, so in your home?
Oh, I brought my library to Nazarbayev University. It's about 15,000 volumes. So I'm going to leave it as a gift to Nazarbayev University. But my home in Madison, Wisconsin was filled with books. But my children didn't live with me. They lived with their mother. And so they would visit me every couple of weeks on the weekend. So then, of course, I was doing email, I was doing work too, but my time would go also to spending time with them. It would go to cooking for them. And my wife, Funda Güven, who works in my department as well, before we were married, she complained that on Sundays I didn't set enough time for her, and her kids. So those of us who are academics are definitely usually workaholics. We work too hard, and it may not be working on our research.
It's called
it might
dedication.
be working. It is dedication. It may be responding to correspondence. Email takes a lot of our time, and since I'm chair of a department and director of a program and other things, a lot of my time here also goes to administrative work. So I'm always working. It's difficult for me to say that I have a vacation. So
how's that?
that's going to be good.
Great.
It's going to be good. In 10 minutes, I'm going to make the sauce for this. So, and normally I don't rinse pasta, but I'm going to rinse this only because I probably oversalted it. And so I'm a little worried.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
I can't wait to eat it.
Yeah, it smells very good.
Normally, one should have a larger pot for making pasta, but this is what I had. Okay, so let's just... Normally, you don't rinse pasta like this, but just in case it's a little salty. And then let me taste it to make sure it's okay.
Oh, you don't usually do it? Because...
No, you don't normally rinse pasta, but this is fine. This is excellent. This is fine. This we can put over here so we don't worry about it. So what I'm going to do now is this looks like, this is flour.
This is flour.
Let me get, okay, here we have this. So what I'm going to do is put some sour cream here.
Okay.
You can also use like a thick yogurt, like Greek yogurt, or in Turkey, süzme yoğurt, which is a good substitute for something like this.
Like 4 or 5 tablespoons of sour cream.
And sometimes I can use a whole container. It becomes very rich then.
Okay,
it becomes very rich then, but it's delicious.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so let's put a little flour in here. So now.
So
the
much the better, right?
The more in terms of sour cream, well,
yes.
So we don't want to have too much.
Yes, then it will be very fatty.
It will be very fatty, but it's good. It's good, but it's heavy.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do with
it.
So I'm going to mix this now. Why do we mix it? Because if you put the flour straight in here, it's going to start cooking in little lumps. And so this way, first of all, we mix it very, very nicely. And then let's start putting some of the sauce in here. And what we'll do is we'll
And that is a very Hungarian way of cooking this dish.
Well, let's put it this way. I have my Hungarian colleagues, when I made this for them last time, they said, oh, this is like my grandmother's. And so let's say that I think this is much better than what I had the last time in a restaurant in Budapest. But there, maybe they were cooking for tourists and they didn't pay attention. So the worst French food I've had has been on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. So I would say, sometimes in tourist areas, you don't get the best food. It's not the best authentic home cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it resembles me borscht.
Well, it's not going to taste like borscht, that's for sure. So I may repeat
But the color of it, because of tomatoes, I think,
Yeah. So I'm going to use the rest of the flour, and I'm going to put in the rest of the sour cream. And so it needs to cook long enough for the flour to cook. And so there's different ways to add flour. What they do in, let's say in New Orleans cooking is they'll make a roux where first, for certain kinds of food, first what you do is you take some oil, you put the flour in the hot oil and you stir that until it's like dark colored, very nutty. And that can also be the base for a sauce. But Hungarian cooking doesn't do that as far as I know. And then we can wait 10 minutes and then see what it tastes like.
think all the Hungarians will be happy that we are making the national dish of Hungary today.
Sure, why not?
When they watch this program.
My teacher was, for Turkology, Tibor Halasikun, was a Hungarian, but he was a kun. In Hungary, there's the kuns, so in Lesser Kumania or Greater Kumania, lesser is Kiskunshag, Greater Kumania is not Kunshag, they're actually descendants of Kumans, of Kipchaks, that migrated to Hungary before the Mongols came. Yeah. They were escaping from the Mongols. So there is actually, so that's one of the reasons why Hungary also joined the Organization of Turkic States, because they say, you know, some sources like Constantine Porphyrogennetus and others, when they were talking in the 10th century or 9th century about Turkey, they were talking about Hungary, Hungarians, before they migrated to the current. And so one of the interesting things here is that you have a strong Hungarian connection with the Turkic world, both through the earlier history before they came to their modern territory, and then later there was a period of Ottoman Turkish occupation. And so there's lots of loanwords from Turkic languages in Hungarian from the earlier time, Bulgar Turkic loanwords, like, let's say, like the word for fruit is gyümölç, which comes from yemiş, but many of the words have, instead of sh, they have L, or instead of Z, they have R. So they have, for example, modern word for veal is boryu, which goes back to buzahu. Buzahu. Oh yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So let's get the big ones.
Yes.
So first, what we'll do is we'll move this. We'll turn this all off. And let me...
You can put your plates here.
Okay, we'll put the plates
more
here.
Space here, yes.
So, again, in Hungary, they would use these little noodles called galushka, which are like spätzle or like little small gnocchi. And otherwise, I like to use this because it will hold the sauce very nicely.
Yeah.
You want so I'll give you a little bit because here it's really early in the day.
Galushka has some bowls over there, right? Like a dal.
It's like little fingers like that, or even thinner than that. The way I make it, they're ugly and fat, because I'm not an expert at making galushka.
Okay, here we go.
And I will break my diet and taste it with you, so that you don't...
Sure.
Okay, next.
Next.
Okay, so we turned that off.
Now it's time for sauce, right?
Yeah.
For chicken.
For the chicken.
Okay. And the sauce around it. Oh, I see. So now we're ready to go. Our dish is being cooked and ready to taste. So I invite you, gentlemen, to go to our next room to taste it. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. Now I think this is the time to taste the dish. What do you think?
In Hungarian, they would say, "Yo, étvágyat kívánok."
Yes, so let's do it. Let's go.
Let's try the dish of Uli.
That tastes good.
I will start with the tomato.
I can feel the taste of paprika, I think, yes? It's very...
Yeah, it is.
You can feel the hot paprika, and you can use less of that. But in Hungary, it would have a little tiny bite.
Oh, okay.
The chicken is cooked.
But it's good, yeah.
And I think tomato gives a lot with the dish. And I'm really surprised by how it was cooked. So there is no water here. It's like a sausage or something.
Well,
like a cream.
There was water in the pot, so and I could have used less, but it cooked like a soup.
No, it's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And spicy.
A little bit, just a little bit. At home, I would add more pepper. I would add more pepper to make it even hotter.
So now it's like my brain stopped thinking.
You're focusing entirely on the food,
my stomach
right?
just works now, so.
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Yes. Absolutely.
I do.
So, is this one of your favorite dishes?
Yes, I like to make this. I like to make this. I made this a lot for my children when they were growing up. I make it for companies sometimes too, including last time for my Hungarian colleagues. And they're the ones who said it was like the way their grandmother used to make it.
So I think we also have something to present to our guest today.
Sure.
Yes, Lombrian, if you can share it with us.
Yeah, let me introduce
to
you.
This beautiful table.
This beautiful dessert. I think it's half dessert, half meal. Why this dessert? Because we have this borsuk, you know that, it's little balls, but we have like bigger balls. So it depends on the region who cook exactly this borsuk. But what we have inside is a cottage cheese.
Oh.
And that makes this meal sweet.
Okay.
So that is for you, and this is a bal kaymak.
Bal kaymak,
Yeah,
right?
that's also national food.
This is like a sour cream, but it's very sweet and tasty.
Okay.
So it
Can I
goes
try
well.
one now?
Yes,
Enjoy.
you can try it
Okay,
right
thank
now.
you very much. I've never had this kind before. Oh, it's very nice.
Yes.
Let's open it.
Yes, let's do it. Oh, wow. It has like a surprise
Brown
inside
cottage cheese.
I didn't see that. Okay.
it. Super. Let us taste it as well.
It's very good.
Good.
Brings me to my childhood, when my grandma cooked borsuk
Yes.
and smell it everywhere in my home.
My mother would make things too, but what my mother would make would be much larger.
Yes. It depends on, on the regions, on...
Sure.
Yes. On people choices. But specifically with this cream, it goes very well because it's sweet and very tasty.
Well, thank you so much for your invitation. This was fun.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
How many people we get to know here? A lot of.
Yes, a lot of, and it's we
Good
discussed.
experience.
Yes, we discussed one that this food sharing could be like an element of food diplomacy, right?
Yes.
When you like talk and you make some kind of connections, just eating together, and I think this is a very interesting notion.
Sure.
The notion of breaking bread together.
Yes, exactly.
You also mentioned about Altın Horde.
Golden Horde or Altın Orda.
Altın Orda.
Yeah. When you go to Kazakhstan, you will see the Altın Horde here. That was your imagination, right?
No. You see it. You're driving past the ministries and so on. You have Altın Orda. You have you go have cafes or businesses that are called Altın Orda.
Yes, we use this name very frequently.
I enjoyed that very much, seeing that.
So, and before we finish our program today, we also want to give you something you can take away with you as a gift from our program, right? And we have here...
We have one more surprise for you.
One more surprise.
Should I stand up?
No.
No,
Just
you
keep
can
seated.
sit. So, this is our branded pack, and inside it is the chocolates made of djent. And djent is also like a national kind of cereal. We use djent to cook, for example, different dishes, right, in Kazakhstan. And this particular, I can show it to you, and I can show it to our viewers. So this is sweets covered with different chocolates, but they have this gent inside it. So you can taste it, and it goes well with coffee, with tea. So please enjoy your gent time.
Thank you very
with
much.
your family members, with your colleagues, with any of other companies. So thank you very much for being with us, for being with our program today. And I would remind all our viewers that today we were joined by the professor of Nazarbayev University. We were cooking the Hungarian national dish, and it's very good and it's very pleasant. We really liked it so much. So stay tuned and see our program, watch our program on Silkway TV channel.